to Management Career Institute. So I'll introduce myself. Rishabh. Working as a I was working as a senior data scientist with Innovasor, and now I will be leading the team at Providence. So I'll joining as a lead data scientist at Providence, and I have near about 7+ years of experience, 7.6 years of experience in machine learning, data science, big data, cloud, analytics. Industry is shaping towards, what all things it really matters or it really affects, and then we will basically jump into to see some projects. Okay, I'll just take you through the projects, as I don't want to make it too technical on the first event, but yeah, we'll get a glimpse of it. How does the data looks like, the data analytics project looks like, and eventually how the industry is shaping towards the new journey. And yeah, that's one of the thing. And then how you should jump into the career path of data analytics. Okay, like what are the different trajectories that you can make it through. So these are our agenda for the day, and we'll try to make it very interactive sessions. So you can ask any question, any doubts, whether it is technical, non-technical, whatever it is. We'll try to answer all your question, doubts. Cool. So, yep. Let us start. Let me get into sharing my screen. Okay. So I hope you guys can see my screen. Great. So first of all, let's get a bit deeper understanding of data analytics. So how many of you are already a part of the AI team or AI journey, or is everybody new here? You can raise hands over Zoom. How many of you in different way interacted with the data analytics team, or everybody is new here? If you have interacted, you can just raise your hands. Okay. And if you have not, then that's fine. Okay, I see only Justin. What about others, folks? Let's make a bit interactive. Okay, all of you are new with data analytics.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so typically it's a sweet spot, okay, between business analytics and data science. Okay, like it is not very new. The subject is not very new. It's been there for a quite long time, but it's somehow a sweet spot. It has become a very sweet spot between business analytics and data science. So I will write it as, okay, one side I will put business analytics, and the other side I put data science. So data analytics is basically nothing but it's a kind of a you can say a joining two areas. One is the business side, where you try to understand how your business really works, and the other side is the data science part, where you have too much of technical stuffs the statistical analytics. Okay, and all of those are basically the part of data science. The domain knowledge that you need to apply data science, so that comes from business. So all your domain understanding. So let's say somebody working on retail industry. So domain understanding comes from business, and then statistical analytics comes from data science. So both together, without understanding domain, you cannot do anything. So you need to first understand which business you are in, how does that particular domain works, okay? And then you can jump into the problem statement of that domain. Without understanding the domain, it becomes a bit difficult for anybody. Let's say, as I am working on healthcare, if I join retail industry for a few days, few months, I need to really understand how that particular industry works. Who are my supply chain, logistic, okay? How does that particular organization work? From where we are getting the data? How much delay is there in procuring the data? All of these comes as a part of your domain understanding. And then you can go and apply your statistical logics. Before that, eventually you cannot. Generally, what you guys can see that there are a lot of open source projects that you can see in Kaggle, you can see in Google data sets. These open source data sets are pretty well defined from the beginning, right? They are not basically defined as a part of your actual data analytics journey or a data science journey, whatever you say. Because if I take any data analytics project, typically it takes, if I take 100 days, let's say a project is going for 100 days. If I just draw a line, okay, starting over here is basically, let's say 0 day. And putting over here is the 100th day. 70% will be in data pre-processing. Okay. Until 70th day, you will keep on processing the data. So majority of the time in any of these analytics projects, you spend time in arranging your data in a way your statistical methods will work. There are a lot of mathematical assumptions for each of the algorithms or the statistical formulas, which you try to set from the given data set. So you spend 70 days, just 70% of your time for any given data analytics or business analytics project to arrange the data so that it can be consumed by your statistical methods. So this part, you really miss it out when you work with open source data. This 70%, you miss it out when you work with open source data. Why? Because everything is there, ready on plate. You just need to download the data and apply the statistical algorithms. But that's not the industry, how industry works. We get the data in a very cluttered form, not in a very organized form. And the data analyst, business analyst, eventually data scientist, data engineers, all of them are put in place to arrange the data in a way our model and algorithm can work. Okay, so it is very, very important. And mostly we spend 70% of our time. So that is one of the biggest thing that you miss when you work with an open source data. Second point is every industry has their own way, or let's say every business, not eventually industry. Industry is a very long term. Every business. So if you take retail, retail has different aspect. One aspect is procurement. Okay, there would be some sort of delay in procurement. There would be some sort of logistic and supply chain issues. There would be, you can say, a lot of human interventions that needs to be recorded. So if, let's say, a car manufacturing company is trying to mitigate the sales and trying to reduce the wait period, let's say. Generally, when you want to buy a car, you need to assume that there should be a waiting period. And this waiting period is somewhere between, let's say, 3 months, and eventually it can go down to 9 months. And there are very good brands, very good car, but if the waiting period is 9 months, people will lose interest in buying the car. So in order to reduce that waiting period, one way is we can apply some analytics on the given data, try to streamline the process with existing infrastructure that we have. It doesn't mean that if I want to mitigate all my waiting period cars immediately, I need to open big plants. So that's not the answer, because there is a limitation to every investments that we make. So we need to strategically think on, okay, as a part of data analytics and business analytics, we need to strategically think on the ROI that the investments has been made versus how can we try to mitigate this waiting period. So one way is pull the data of the existing sales, pull the data of manufacturing slabs. So when we speak about manufacturing, there are different types of slabs. One slab is mostly on, let's say, building the hardware parts, building the chassis, building the engine. Okay, and then there are a lot of finest fragments that are available in each and every manufacturing. When you are manufacturing a chassis, there are different type of fragments available, whereas when you are manufacturing an engine, there are different type of raw material required. Now each of these supplies of raw material is again will have different demand and different supply zones. Like you might have already heard about it, that there is a shortage of electronic chips, right? And because of that, a lot of car manufacturing company are either increasing the price of the car or they are basically trying to procure some second-hand or old cars which people are selling, and then they are trying to utilize some of those electronic chips here in the new car and trying to resale and reduce the overall wait period, because the electronic chips availabilities are less. So these all things you can only do if you have proper information and data with you. So what you need to do is you need to collect all the, you need to first understand how each of these supply chain works. Okay, supply chain for chassis, supply chain for your electronic devices of the car, supply chain for engine, okay, and the other accessories, which include seats and the interior accessories of the car and blah, blah, blah. There are so many things. So you need to understand the supply chain of all of this, and then you need to do an analysis that on each and every procurement that has been made so far. Okay, a car company is operating for quite long time, right? So each of these procurement that has been made so far, which area is taking a long delay, for which area the entire cycle is getting stuck. Okay, And then you can present it that if we can improve that area, the business stakeholders, if we can improve that area, then definitely we can make some good amount of time reduce in a waiting period. So these are the ways and techniques we generally apply. So that's why I said that first is domain understanding, which domain you are working on, and then arrange your data in a way. Now you see there are so many fragments of supply chain, chassis, engine, accessories, so many fragments. And you also need to do some sort of time series analysis, because there are some a particular time zone where the demand increases. So if I see the month of December, there is a kind of a demand versus you can say the lot of offers are basically generated because it's an year ending and the company want to record more and more sales in that particular year. So the car company also gives a lot of offer in the month of December, November and December. At the same time, there should be sufficient demand as well. Then only you can give offer and supply as well, right? So all of your sales analytics is one part of it, and your the rest of the analytics of the data is one part of it, which is your logistics, supply chain. These are the other part of it. And then you need to analyze, including both the information, that how can you mitigate the solution of waiting period. So you see, understanding the business and then mapping all of them in a proper data. Now the data, when I say data, you need to pull the data from different sources, arrange the data in a way so that you can represent all of them at the same level. So some of the data is, let's say, on a monthly basis, some of the data is on a daily basis, some of the data is on an hourly basis. So you need to choose either of the point, that should I maintain all the data in an hourly basis, then only you can compare all the fragments. You can compare supply chain, you can compare your chassis manufacturing, engine manufacturing. If you go by hourly basis, it means you need to basically choose one pivot. Either you go by hourly basis, either you go by monthly basis pivot, and then generate the data in a uniform manner so that you can do the analysis, and which eventually takes a lot of time because each of these sources would be different. There are a lot of OEMs that are involved in car manufacturing, and these OEMs will have a different formats of providing the data to you. So including all of this, I will come to the questions, Samiksha. Okay, don't worry. All of your question you can put on chat. I will come to it. Okay. So all of these are basically taken together, and then you assemble all the information together, which eventually takes a lot of time in real world. So that's why you miss this kind of analytics in real world in your open source data set, because it is already given to you that these are the features, these are the values to predict, and you can directly go and use it. But you miss the major part of engineering, which is accumulating the data based upon the business logic, accumulating the data based upon a detailed understanding of fragments of the business. And that's where your data analytics actually becomes valuable. Okay. So it has to become valuable. Actually, it has to become valuable. It's only because when you are contributing to the ROI, okay, until you contribute to the ROI, none of your analytics will be fruitful. Okay. So we have to be very cautious, means the role that we lead. We cannot simply go and do any simple analytics, which can be done in an Excel or which can be done in a very simple manner. Anybody can do it. So something which can really give some importance, So we try to basically understand that. We try to jot down our problem statements, which we want to solve, how we want to solve, and it can fit to every industry. Whether you are from pharmaceutical, whether you are from supply chain, whether you are from retail, healthcare, okay, it has no bars. So that's the, you can say, an universal strategy that we try to learn here. And that's what is very, very important. Okay, now coming to the questions. ROI is what is the return on investment? So return on investments means the team that has been formed, let's say 5-member team or 10-member team formed by your organization. Along with, there are a lot of tools that they need to procure, right? A lot of tools they need to procure to store data, to do the analysis. Okay, a lot of cloud platforms they need to rent out. So all of these are basically the investment for the company, right? To do the analytics and tell them what are the loopholes, how can they improve the business, how can they improve the returns, profit returns, how can they improve the investments. So where they should invest, when they should invest, how they should invest. All of these questions are basically answered by the analytics team. Okay, and this is more on the retail side I was speaking. Eventually, I will try to give you a more kind of a view on different industry as well. So first, let me answer the questions. What is the difference between data analysis and analytics? It is just a play of word, right? Eventually, you can also understand analytics and analysis has no difference. It's just a play of word. Whenever, whatever you are analyzing, and this is just an English tense game, nothing else. So you take the data, you take the huge amount of information with 1,000+ rows, millions of columns, okay, and then you do the analysis, and it need not to be always the structured data. Now the business is basically changing. A lot of the dependencies are there on the social media aspect. So it need not to be a structured data. It can be unstructured data as well. It can be the comments of Facebook. It can be the comments from Twitter. I will give one example on that. Okay. So data analytics means we'll take the data from different sources, do the analysis based upon the problem statement given to you by your organization. So that is how data analytics works. And while you do the analysis, you apply some statistical mechanism. Okay. Is it mandatory for data analyst to know the business analytics and the basics of data science? So in our way of learning, what I generally do while in our way of learning, the things are a bit different. We have a blended content of business and data science. So it's a blended content of business and data science together so that you get all the 360 view. And as I said, that most of your learning is in this 70%, and then the rest 30% is already known, and you will be basically learning those 30% most of the time, but 70% of the time your data pre-processing, data cleaning activities, most of the people, they don't come to learn from the open source data sets. So that's what we try to give more focus on. Okay, and it's a kind of a blended content that we deliver. You come to know about business, you come to know about data science, how do you apply data science in your analytics, and how you solve the problem end to end, starting from taking a problem statement and then giving a solution to the business stakeholders. So we try to give you the 360 view of your understanding. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about it, Samiksha, on the aspect of what are required and what is not required. We try to cover all the 360 angle of it. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions you have? So far, any questions, any doubts? Okay. Coming to few more examples. So I gave one example, one understanding from your uh, retail space. Now I've been working on a healthcare for a quite long time. I'll give one example from healthcare space and another from finance space. So we will try to cover 360 view of the industry. So healthcare is, you can say, one of the, you can say, a very preliminary area of human being. Like without healthcare solutions, it is very difficult for to sustain, right? So most of the organization, they do a lot of analytics behind most of the hospitals specifically. They do a lot of analytics behind the patients. So one such use case I will tell, that the job of the hospital and doctors is to keep their patients well, right? Now, wellness cannot be only based upon medicines. Wellness is more about lifestyle, okay? How you lead your life. Let's say you are having a junk food every day, at the same times you are taking medicine pills. Doesn't make any sense, right? Because they both are just an opposite to each other. So wellness is more about how you lead your lifestyle. Based upon your lifestyle information, we need to identify how soon you are going to get some, let's say, heart attack. What is the time period you might get a heart attack? What is your mortality rate? Mortality means in next 10 years, what is the percentage of years the patient will survive? So there are a lot of analytics we do in such cases. So that gives the hospitals a clear picture, as well as the insurance company. The insurance company gets a lot of information out of it, because they are basically looking ahead to understand that what is the mortality rate for their patient, how soon they are going to get attacked by any chronic disease. Okay, maybe it is heart failure, kidney related issues, or it can be diabetes, one of the most common complication. So there are a lot of, you can say, a lot of chronic conditions that are present, and we try to understand based upon looking at lifestyle, looking at the different aspects. We try to understand that how their disease roadmaps are. So with this, the hospital comes to know who are the probable customers, and the insurance company comes to know that how their customers analysis looks like, how much money they are going to get, and how much they need to spend on each of these patients. And the insurance company will start doing some sort of rewards to those who don't, who are following the wellness programs. So wellness programs includes hitting gym, okay, doing some yoga exercise, tracking all of those information, and then utilizing those information for your analytics. So that's a very, very important aspect. So we also try to understand that what are your lab results, what are your lab reports, and historically we try to see that how does all these information looks like, and then we try to predict that by when the patient will get heart attack or any of such, you can say, any of such chronic disease. Okay, guys, please don't annotate on my screen. Okay, just try to listen. If you have any question, put it on chat box. Okay, or you can unmute yourself. If you have any question, you can also interact. but don't annotate on the screen. Yeah. So so that is one of the area of the analytics on the wellness part. Then there are a lot of analytics which runs on pharmaceutical based area. So doctors generally, they cannot understand whether the patient will react to the side effects or not. So the doctor never understands that. So the doctor basically prescribes the medicine, or the doctor will understand some means a new drug. When it get introduced, it becomes difficult for the doctors as well. It might have a lot of the chemical properties that the doctor understands, but the doctor never checks that at a population level, right? So if doctor has prescribed one medicine to 100 patients, how many of them got reacted to allergic conditions? So the doctor never knows about the population. So what we, the data scientist and the business analyst do is, business analyst or data analyst, whatever it is, they do is they try to understand that how does it impacts how the medicine is doing in the current world, how they are contributing, how many side effects they have been generating, and with which drug those side effects are getting generated. Then that is known as drug to drug interaction. If one drug is interacting with another drug, generating a new side effect, so that we need to identify, and we need to inform the manufacturing company that, okay, so these two drugs are not compatible or cannot be prescribed together. So this can only be done when you are doing in a large scale population, and you proactively let the physician and the doctor know that these two drugs are going to be these two drugs are interacting each other and cannot be recommended at the same time. So this type of analytics are more in demand nowadays. So these are changing the overall way of dealing the things in medical science as well. Lot of analytics we do on the computer vision area, which is though not a part of data analytics, but I'm just sharing my experiences. There are a lot of initial stage of cancers which are not detectable very well, and that can only be detectable means in a human eye, it is not detectable at a very early stage. So we use computer vision algorithms to identify those particular region of cancers, okay, malignant cells. We try to identify those malignant cells, and based upon that, we try to solve, or we try to early treat those patients. The general efficacy rate of detecting the malignant cell at a very early stage is 70% only. So 30% of the patients are left out without, I mean, 30% of the time patients, they don't get to see those conditions, right? So that's a very, very difficult and challenging moment for those patients. So we try to improve that using computer vision. We try to understand the malignant region, train a lot of MRI images, train a lot of radiation images, okay. And with the help of that, we try to learn from the images using computer vision algorithms. Recently, you might have heard all about ChatGPT. So that's a very, very interesting area. Many people think that it will take the job, but not really. It has its own potential, but it doesn't have humanoid potential. So don't worry about jobs. So those are just myth, nothing else. Job will be there, but the way to deliver the job will change. So a lot of clerical jobs over the period of time will get impacted, but the job which includes a humanoid sense or intelligence cannot be wiped out. So a lot of repetitive tasks will get automated, but as I said, the intelligent aspect cannot be automated as of now. So there will be the change in the delivery line. How the things were delivered earlier will not be now in such cases. So there will be a huge change in the delivery line, but mostly ChatGPT is going to create a lot of impact on the conversational AI platform. So we use natural language processing, natural language understanding and generation mechanism and algorithms to basically build such kind of models. And there are 1,000+ models so far available now. Okay, apart from ChatGPT, they basically do the respective task. ChatGPT is kind of a natural language generation model. Means it's a complete holistic processing. First, we take the text, whatever you write in the question, and then we basically try to process that and then understand the context, and then we move ahead with generating the text for it. So it's a different ball game altogether, where we have all the combinations of different aspects. But most interestingly, this is going to create an impact on repetitive and more on the clerical side, okay, question answering side. So those aspects will get impacted. Okay, so that is one of the use case of natural language processing, language models. And there are a lot of large language models currently available in industry. Eventually, you can also build. We teach in our data science course. Yeah, but for data analytics, it is not too much important. I'm just giving you the view of how AI looks like. Yeah. So that is how the overall industry looks like from the language perspective. Coming to lot of reinforcement learning, though it is not required for you guys, but I'm just trying to give you the view. You see a lot of satellites, they are basically being developed and designed on the reinforcement learning, where the control of the human being is no longer present. So we basically try to teach, we basically build algorithms which helps the satellites automatically learn how to navigate in an unweird situation, how to navigate in a situation where you may not ever have faced. So let's say outside the world, you don't know how the environment looks like. You can just make those assumptions. So a lot of such algorithms are getting developed, and eventually in the aircrafts, in the drones, okay? And you might have heard about this Boston Dynamics. So there is a lot of locomotive automations that they are doing, trying to build a very good mobility devices. Okay, robo dogs are there, okay, which behaves very similar like human being. So this comes under reinforcement learning, though it is not a very important and required aspect, but just to give you an exposure that it's also a part of AI. So these are the 360 view. One is the machine learning part, where you take all these information about your data set and then you pass it to your machine learning algorithms for predicting anything, like, as I said, reducing the waiting period of car, predicting the heart attack rate, okay, predicting whether the drug will interact or not. These are all the use cases. Even machine learning and deep learning are used in drug discovery as well. Typically, when a drug is designed, it is very difficult to find the suitable chemical receptor, okay, means which can match or which can get mutate with our DNA. Okay, because if you see the chemical structure of the human being, it is more on the genetic coding part. So it is very difficult. So let's say a virus is there in our body. Virus has its own chemical composition, and it is very difficult to figure out the very relevant chemical composition which can mutate with that virus and kill that virus, neutralize that virus. And that's why in the COVID period, it took near about 8-9 months to discover the vaccine. So AI, generally 3 to 4 years of timestamp is required to generate any sort of drug, okay, to get it foolproof. 3 to 4 years of timestamp required. With the help of AI, machine learning, deep learning, it gets reduced to 1 to 2 years, because you need not to experiment too many things physically. You can experiment it out virtually with the help of machine learning. So that kind of advancement are there, and you can basically make it out very efficiently with a very less cost. First of all, the time is getting reduced from 3 to 4 years to 1 to 2 years. At the same time, the cost of experiments are also getting reduced. Hence, the drug price will be reduced. It will be more affordable. Everybody can purchase it. So that's one of the utility. These are some of the advancement coming across the industry. Now, let me talk about a bit on the finance part. Okay. So you get to see a lot of high frequency trade company. Okay. You might have heard, or you may not have heard. Okay. I'll tell you, there is one company called 2 Sigma. I don't know whether you guys have heard of it or not, but they are the high frequency trading company, 2 Sigma. So they use machine learning, deep learning to do regular trading in stock market, and they earn a huge hefty profit from there. Okay, so you can see this is a financial science. With the help of data analysis, they try to do the trading. They try to understand how the market will move and how the market will basically traject at different fragments of, you can say, in the given year, or maybe at the beginning of the financial year until the end of the year. Every minutes and seconds of information they try to collect. Every seconds of information, what is the price, how the sales going on for each and every stocks. Sales doesn't mean sales of the company, but how many people are buying and selling the stock. That's what the volume. Okay, the volume of the stock. So how each and every minute, seconds of information they capture, and they try to do an analysis that, okay, in next 1 hour, how much price might increase, or how much price it might decrease. So lot of analytics we try to do behind the scene with the help of data science, and you can see it has been written over here. With the help of data analysis, they try to solve the projects. Okay, so 2 Sigma is there. Then there are many other companies. Okay, they are actually working on such kind of financial model. Company like lot of banks. Okay, SBM Bank, then your eventually HDFC, in Indian banks as well. Okay, there is a bank, IndusLand Bank. Then yeah, the IDFC Bank. They all use machine learning for 5 minutes account opening scheme. So it is not so easy earlier, right? Because a lot of proofs needs to be there, a lot of identity has to be validated, which were not there earlier. But now with the help of machine learning, deep learning, we can basically capture all those information together, and you can allow to open a bank account within just 5 minutes. So that kind of flexibility is there now. and it can basically boom the entire financial industry. The way you know how to predict a particular stock, okay, or if you have a capability to capture the defaulters, okay, it also yeah, machine learning is also used to identify who are the repetitive defaulters, okay, credit risk score. It helps to identify all of those. So it is one of the biggest, you can say, a revolution or the impact that has created with the help of AI. And most of these things at an initial level are done by the data analyst, business analyst, because all of these are required. Like, it's not only the data science part, but how each and every business works, you also need to know. Then only you can predict the stock market price. Okay, what are the parameters that are available, how a local broker works, that also you need to know, because there are thousands and millions of local broker and there could be only one HFT trader. So how the real world works versus how you are going to work, you need to understand that first, and then you can collect the data accordingly, prepare your data, process your data accordingly, and then you can build an algorithm which will tell you that whether the price will increase or decrease, right? So that is how most of the algorithm works, most of the organization works. Okay, it's a blended mix. Okay, not, if I bring a statistical guy, he cannot simply do the analysis until he knows about the business. So both are required, and that's why we have framed this course called data analytics. Yeah, any questions so far? Okay, good question. That what are the skills that you should have? Okay, coming to the skills. So first of all, you need to be very good at few things. So one is, there are two ways to land into this business analytics or data analytics. One way is technical way. So those who want to learn the technology, so that is one area through which you can jump in. The other is those who have a relevant experience in the industry, let's say 15 plus years, 20 plus years of experience in the industry. For them, understanding and learning a new technology would take a lot of time, and also would not be the part of daily to daily transaction. So their way of learning has to be different than those who want to be a part of daily to daily transaction, those who want to write down code, those who want to build the solution. So one way is managing the team, those who are having a good amount of experience. So for them, we have a different course altogether, which is more about the fundamentals of data science, fundamentals of how we manage data science projects, okay, fundamentals of how we deliver end-to-end life cycle of the project. So that is one area. And the other part is the technology side, okay, where we teach Python. So Python is must have. Okay, if you want me to put it on the technology side, Python or R, both should be there. And then you can also include SQL. Okay, it can be any given database, maybe MySQL, SQL database, or Postgres, or Snowflake, any given type of database. Which we recommend is Postgres, Snowflake, because these are mostly used in industry. You won't get to see these kind of databases in other courses. because they don't focus really on the industry aspect, where we, as I said, 70% of the time we do in the we are our skills depends on how you bring a data in a consolidated form before your machine learning. So SQL is very, very important, and we teach SQL, but SQL in form of Postgres in real world databases. Okay, and Snowflake, there are a lot of changes there. Postgres, Snowflake. And then we also include cloud AWS aspects. Okay. A lot of our solutions we need to deploy in real world. So that is being done in AWS. So Python, SQL, AWS, and finally, we start jumping towards machine learning algorithms. Okay. So where we try to learn supervised, unsupervised learning, we try to also see how to build any sort of problem statements with different industry. We try to explore those as well. So these are the technology side skills. Apart from that, you also need to know how do you manage the business. Business has different areas to start with. One is the service driven business. Okay, so we try to give you those pictures as well. ITIL management, change management, how the service business works. Service business overview. Which also include consulting driven businesses. You also need to understand about how product management works. Okay, what are the techniques that we apply in product management? Because when you are part of any real world industry, not only your technical skills are important, you also need to know how a product is basically operated in a real world life cycle. You also need to know the life cycle of that product. Based upon that, your roles will get aligned accordingly. So service business overview, product management. Okay, these are one of the part of our course curriculum. Okay. Everything we start with scratch. Yeah. In machine learning, there are statistical algorithms. I'm not exclusively writing it. It is already available in your course content. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So these are some of the areas where we try to go with. Yeah, in machine learning, you have all the algorithms, which has already been listed in your Excel sheet. I think Kunal has already shared. So you can go through it in detail and you can get a detailed understanding of it. I just gave you the overview. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? I want to show you one project. So this is how a particular project looks like. So this is a 2D SIM analytics, where the problem statement is a company want to build a new program. Now this data is coming from Thomas Cook. So they want to introduce a new program, and in that particular program, they want to learn about um, you can say they want to learn about their existing customers, how they are basically choosing them for any of their tour packages. They also want to know about if they introduce a new package, whether the existing customer will buy or not. So that is how the tourism analytics works in this particular use case. So we have the data set available. This is how the data set looks like. And we need to find out the reasons why and who are basically choosing these packages. And if a new package is introduced, then how does the data would look like? So we do a lot of analytics. You can see a lot of observations we put on. Okay, what are our observations? And these observations are being given to the business stakeholders as well. Okay, for them to understand and get a view of it. Okay, you can see that from which city they belong to, which tier city they belong to, 65% from tier 1 city. How many? So most of the folks are from salaried folks. So these are the different analytics we do, and most majority of them are executive managers. Okay, and then you can see AVP, VPs are there. So are they traveling for business purpose, or are they traveling for tour purpose? Means for any sort of leave they want to spend it with. So that we need to figure out. Okay, that for what purpose they are traveling. So a lot of analytics we try to do. Univariate analysis, these are the mechanisms. We try to plot graphs, try to understand, okay, for how much time the salesman needs to speak at, if they are overall pitch duration is 20 minutes, okay, on average it is 15 minutes. Okay, in 15 minutes, how many conversion happened? In 20 minutes, how many conversion happened? Okay, more than 20 minutes, how many conversion happened? Based upon that, the salesman will try to pitch. So a lot of in-depth analytics we try to do. Okay, and yeah, you can see duration cut 0 to 10 minute. These many people were there. 10 to 20, these are the conversions. You can see majority of the conversions are in high 20 percentage. You can see 22%. So 20 to 30 minutes when a salesman is speaking, they get a majority of the conversion. 30 to 40 minutes, 25%. So this gives you enough clear picture that on an average, if this conversation goes up to 10-20 minutes, more than that, then definitely those are the customers that can get converted. So you can do a repetition on the sales pitch. Okay. So these are the different analytics that we try to do. A lot of analytics we try to do, and we try to get a clear picture of existing customer. How does they look like? And then we can recommend to our business stakeholders. Okay, so these are the existing customers. You can go and tell that these are our existing customers looks like, and out of these customers, let's say out of 100 customer, 20 will buy. Okay, so you can go and introduce your new package to those 20 customers. So that is how you do the analytics. This in short, I just try to show you how things looks like, how our observations we try to capture, and then try to collate all of them in a slide or a PPT and then share with the respective stakeholders. Clear? Any questions, guys? I want to also introduce lot of analytics company, okay, typically digital marketing analytics, or you can also say uh, you can say marketing analytics company. They are heavily using machine learning, and a lot of brands, they are completely relied upon that. So you see mi Redmi, mi, they don't initially started with a physical store. Now that they have a lot of physical store here and there, but they really don't have the physical store at the beginning. If you see their, if you read their uh, journey to become one of the most sellable product, initially there was no such stores that were available. Okay, so they completely relied on the analytics. Lot of informations were there, which they captured from Twitter, which they captured from Facebook, which they captured from LinkedIn, and then they basically tried to pull the information together, and then they actually manufactured their mobile phone accordingly. People love camera, so they have heavily focused on the camera filters. Okay, and they try to also get a sweet spot on the pricing aspect. Okay, it should be not overpriced, it should be not lowered based upon given the quality. So lot of these are basically used, and analytics are basically used at the beginning to build their product. Eventually they use now, and they try to basically manage their entire business out accordingly based upon their social media data, based upon most of the unstructured data. Okay, from different events, they try to collate and capture a lot of information. So that is how it generally works in real world. So you need to really know that if an event is, means a lot of analytics is also done in the digital marketing aspect. If an event is being allotted, like this is one of the problem statement came from Apple. When should we give advertisement? Okay, so they want to give advertisement in which time frame, whether you will get more advertisements in morning, whether you will get more advertisements in evening. So what is that particular time period when they should give an advertisement? Okay, so that is very, very important. So they use the data of existing advertisements information, conversion rates, and then they try to understand that what is that point, or after which program they should give advertisement, at what time frame people are more active to get through the advertisements, right? So these are the analytics. They are also there in the marketing side. Okay, and there is also one analytics which comes in the pharmaceutical marketing. Recently, I was actually working on it. That a lot of medical representative you get to see visit the doctors, right? Now, we want to know that that should really convert, because medical representatives are giving a lot of efforts in going ahead in the market, getting their medicine sold out. Okay, so they should get that impression. Means the drug manufacturing company, they want the impression in the market, right? So they want to know that how the medical representative should go, how, in which doctor they should target, which region they should target. Okay, and specifically in which age, demographics, gender they should target. So a lot of those analytics are required in real world to basically understand the trajectory. Even your logistic, that is being done by Amazon. Okay, they have their route defined, that whom should they get the things delivered. So majority of them are basically AI driven. Okay, the routes are AI driven. Okay, that who you should deliver, when you should deliver, by what time you should deliver, and they give the entire. There is one company, I forgot the name, Logi. I think Logi is the name of the company. They actually do the analytics on the routes, which routes you should focus, which route you should move on. So these type of analytics are very, very important for a very large scalable business. Amazon is a very large scalable business. Nobody can manually go and track the route of each and every delivery boys, right? So it takes a lot of time. Eventually, your Zomato does that. Okay. Swiggy does that. To make the business scalable, we need that kind of automated solution, right? So these are all the part of your analytics. A lot of distance measuring algorithm works, and they actually help to focus. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Any doubts? Any questions? Cool. So over to you, Kunal. You can continue.